Here we go again. Cross-country trip starts today, and we're not towing anything. This is probably the first time I've traveled cross-country and not towed a trailer. Most of you guys know we've had a fifth wheel travel trailer. We had a small travel trailer that we rented out for a little bit, which is actually pretty good. If you are in the market of renting out rigs, it's actually a really good stream of income. It's just a lot of work, and I don't want to work that hard. Which brings me to this. We decided to get a Class B van life, right? Yeah. And try it out. Let's see what happens. We did decide to rent this guy too, just in case in the future if we decide we want to get one. This will let us know, because these are not cheap. These are like starting at $200,000. Now granted, you can get pretty big discounts on them. But yeah, babe, what do you think?
I like it so far.
This ain't your 40-foot fifth wheel.
I know, it's much tighter.
Yeah, I've already bumped my head like twice here, so I'm still getting used to this. Oh, this is actually a rod. We can actually hang some stuff. Oh no, this is for the curtain. Never mind. We could, now I don't know if we could hang anything there. Maybe very light stuff. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get down the road here. We're taking a week trip cross country. We'll tell you guys about it on the way. But we gotta get this thing weighed. We're gonna check out fuel economy for this 2-liter diesel engine. You guys know I love doing stuff like that just to give you something to think about, right? Because if you can get 20-something miles a gallon with this, why get a trailer? All right, so we're on the road. Look at those beautiful views. Man, those mountains look great. So we've noticed that door is really hard to like shut. So you have to kind of slam it, because it does show that one of the doors are open. I'm really like, just checked ours, and I was like, I guess it's that sliding door. But you guys see right here, we get to see the current consumption. Also, let's see what else we got. I will reset the trip computer, that way you guys can kind of see some of the fuel economy. This does have lane keep assist. I like that. There's a lot of nice safety features, like this has the blind spot alert, and you can option these things up pretty nicely. Like if you're buying this like body of the Mercedes, you can add a bunch of options. But if you're buying it from like a manufacturer like Thor, this is a Thor Sanctuary, I don't know if you can add some of the niceties that Mercedes offers if you're just getting it from them. Like this one doesn't even have LED or HID headlights. I was shocked by that. So we'll have to see how the headlights are at nighttime, because we are going to be doing some nighttime driving. And I just noticed too, like this mirror, like because you have this divider here, this is like kind of like a blind spot in my opinion. I don't really like how they designed this. So just little things like that you have to kind of get used to. I'm pretty sure for most people it's not a big deal, but these seats are pretty comfortable. I will say, I do like their infotainment. Mercedes has some good stuff there. Single climate control, big cup holders, tons of storage up here, which is nice. USBs, they give you the Type-Cs. And back there, you can probably hear some of the rattles and things like that. That's a negative thing about having, you know, your camper behind you like this, versus when you're in your truck. I mean, you just have to deal with the rattles on your dash, but all the stuff back there is gonna obviously get a little annoying. So we'll have to check out the sound system here in a second. All right, we just got over to the Maverick. They actually have a cat scale here. I'm gonna top off the DEF and the diesel here. I'm gonna show you guys where you gotta fill up the DEF, which is kind of comical. I understand why they did this. This is really smart for those people who they just don't know. But regardless of it, I want to see how heavy this thing is, just to give you a perspective of the fuel economy. You gotta understand weight, right? If you're hauling at max GVWR, then you're probably going to get the worst fuel economy there. So we don't have a ton of stuff in there. The water tank, he said he did top it off, so it should be full. And maybe I can go up to that monitor and check that at some point. But yeah, let's go ahead and fill it up, get it weighed, and then get down the road finally. Now if you need to fill up your DEF tank, it's right here. And you want to obviously don't pull too far up, because this is not that long. Sometimes they have them on both sides, but I have just enough to basically top it off, so this is good enough for now. And then if you want to fill up your diesel tank, it's right here behind this door. So just pop it open like that, and it's done. One thing I like is you can now do this on your phone. You don't have to call in. You don't have to go in anymore. You can just get that weigh fee, $14.75, and then it's just gonna weigh the rig. Wait, master is verifying the information. Please wait. Ding, 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 ding. Almost. Right there. You know, shockingly, it's saying that there's a trailer behind us. This is not that heavy. 8,000 pounds. For some reason, I thought this was going to be like somewhere in the neighborhood of 10K. But this thing is super light. Let's go ahead and check out the numbers on the side of the door, because I'm actually interested to see what kind of payload this thing has, with this being gross weighted at 8,000 pounds. Pretty good, actually. So here are the numbers on the door. Your front gross axle weight reading is going to be 4,410 pounds. The rear is 5,360 pounds. Gross vehicle weight reading is 9,050 pounds. And they're saying right here, all-in payload is 1,709 pounds. And they recommend you run the tire pressure at 52 PSI out front and then 70 in the rear.
One thing that is very nice, but a little bit scary, is the views that you get out of the windshields. So it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But when you're going around like curves, you just feel like you're on a roller coaster. Like you're so close to this like simulated ride. Yeah. But yep, we're leaving Utah, headed east once again.
I was really wondering about why would Mercedes use such a small displacement engine for something like this. You guys saw the gross vehicle weight rating of this van, and they do come in 3,500, but I want to say even the 3,500s have the same engine option, which is the high output version of this 2-liter 4-cylinder, which this one has. Now you guys are probably familiar with this road if you've watched my towing videos. I want to see just how good this engine is going up this grade, because we just went up a small grade back there, probably only 3%, and I felt like it was kind of struggling a little bit. I had it all the way to the floor, and it was kind of just out of breath. Now this has the 9-speed transmission, and I'm going to just drop down to about 60 because I don't know if I want to go any slower than that. So here we go. This is a 6% grade. This is a beast. So let's go ahead and do wide open throttle. You guys will see right there. We're going 60, oh, 62, 63. It's about to get steep right here. There you go. I bet you can see the speed a little bit better. So doing good so far. And it's only 50 degrees outside, so it's not a hot day. And my wifey's actually going over to show you guys some of these temperatures. So transmission just jumped over 176. The engine oil is at 230. So far, you know, I might have to put my foot in my mouth. That's actually going 69 miles an hour. I didn't think it was going to get here, because earlier it felt like it was out of steam. But yeah, so far it's holding 69, which is perfect. This is a good speed to go up a 6% grade. And I want to say we're probably about 55 to 5,600 feet elevation. The engine oil is continuing to go up in temp, so we're over 230. Transmission's holding steady at about 178. So yeah, this is not bad. I didn't think it was going to get here. Now, if we were at max payload, max gross vehicle weight rating, I think that this would have struggled a little bit more. But so far, so good. Just so you guys can see. Oh boy. Yeah. If you ever get stuck behind these trucks, that's where this really, really becomes a problem, because when you have to drop down in speed, that's where it hurts you. But no, I won't say anything negative about this little engine. This engine actually is pretty darn good. And I think most of what you're seeing here is that 9-speed transmission, it just shifted. We're probably like in 5th gear, maybe? we're in 6th gear. And it won't let me downshift. But no, we maintain 70 miles an hour. That ain't bad. There is no exhaust brake, and I don't see that this has tow haul mode either. But yeah, you see the temperatures. So the engine oil did go up just a little bit. But now we get to go down the grade and let this thing basically cool off again. But yeah, that 2-liter actually does work pretty darn good. Now, if you're towing a trailer with something like this, or if you're at max gross fuel rating, you're probably going to really work this engine. And yeah, I think that it would be nice for them to do a 6-cylinder twin turbo engine, you know, for like a true high output setup. Oh boy, we've been driving for about 3 hours or so, and DPF is at 100% regeneration active. So this is the best kind of regeneration you can have. Obviously the best one is the one that you don't ever have, but we won't talk about that right now. So we'll see how badly that affects the fuel economy. Let me show you guys. I've been trying to figure out how to use this, and so far it's actually pretty intuitive, this little infotainment system here. So let's just go back to fuel economy, which is under the trip information. You guys see right there, this is like the current consumption. So it hasn't dropped too much. Let's see. So far for this trip, we've gotten 16.8 mpg, and I'm going to show you guys. If you go to navigation, what you guys see where we are? We started off at like 4,300 feet or so. Now we're at 7,100 feet. So that's going to affect fuel economy a little bit. So I will say, performance-wise, fuel economy-wise, with this tall rig, I'm really shocked that this 2-liter diesel can actually get the kind of fuel economy that it does, especially with this kind of weight. I mean, 8,000 pounds is still pretty dang heavy for really any engine, but especially a 4-cylinder getting punched in the face by a turbocharger. So let's see. This is where we got DEF at 17.2. Okay. And we've been probably averaging about, it says 74 miles an hour. I mean, I guess that's, there you go, that you can just go off of that. But one thing I do like about this system too is if you go to drive assist, it does show you the last time you had a brake. And it says attention level here. I'm not really sure. I guess it's at yellow now. So we'll have to check this out. Actually, is this where we're going to stop at? Do they have bathrooms there?
Looks like it.
Cool, yeah, I got to pay. So we're going to stop here, guys. And, you know, I can't blame my kids. See, we're actually going to pick up our kids. I don't know if we've talked about that yet, but we're actually headed to pick them up. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. You know, it's kind of sad. This is the worst time to break because we're going through the regeneration process. This is how, it's so funny. You know, now that my truck's in regeneration, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break now. Oh man, no wonder these diesel engines suck so bad. Because we suck. I'm just kidding. You guys like my shades? These are actually not mine, the white piece. But she let me borrow them because I forgot mine at the house.
They look good on you. They
do look pretty good on me though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to steal these from you.
Right?
I know, right? Come on now. And let me show you one last thing. They show you some of the temperature so you guys can see. Engine oil has dropped a little bit since we hit those grades. And then the transmission's at, I guess you can call it like maybe 174. So I'm gonna let it sit for about maybe a couple minutes here before I turn it off. And then we'll continue on this trip. But yeah, so far I will admit to you guys, the Mercedes chassis are pretty dang good. I like some of the ergonomics that it gives you. Heated seats. These seats are pretty comfortable. I wish they were perforated because you can definitely tell if it was 100 degrees outside, oof, man, your back will be sweating in these. That's what I like about perforated leather. But yeah, the seats have this nice thigh support, which I like.
Yes, I just put this out.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
So
I love that.
Look, my feet can just.
Yeah. And these seats, I mean, they're comfortable, I will admit. I mean, you can hear some of the rattles in the back, but I mean, that's probably the biggest issue, but not a big deal. I mean, I think that if this was a tiny bit bigger, like 5 feet bigger.
That's a lot.
That's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger. This would be like perfect, but I feel like we still need something a little bit bigger, right?
I think we can manage this if we just have like an outside storage.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. That's true. We could get like a rack and, you know, get like a waterproof bin or something like that, but then we couldn't open that back door. So, just something else to consider. I don't know. There's a lot of different floor plans. I mean, maybe we can go like look at some of the floor plans they have. Look at the 3500 chassis too, a little bit longer, and see if they provide a little bit more space. I mean, they have a lot of storage. I mean, there's storage everywhere in this thing. Like, I will bet you we probably will have to go through this thing for like 30 minutes, make sure we don't forget anything in here, because there's so much. But I will check back in one last time for fuel economy, okay? So stay tuned for that. I'll let you guys know where the pump says. And then when we're done with this trip, I'll probably show you a few more fuel economies in other videos. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of give you guys a perspective of these camper vans. No one's really asked me about these. People have asked me about Class A's and Class C's, but no one's really asked me about Class B's. But I figured I'd rather diesel versus gasoline engines, especially for something this size. And Class C's typically are gassy engines. If you find a diesel, they're pretty much a lot more expensive. But yeah, this is definitely comfortable. Yeah, it's been like 25 to like 40 mile an hour winds. And this thing is really, I would like to see maybe a little bit better steering feel. It's like really loose, but overall for this thing being so tall, I would have expected me to have to slow down a lot more, but I have not had to do that, guys. I've kind of just been running through this high winds at, you know, 75, 80 miles an hour. I've slowed down a few times, but not a lot. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and use the bathroom. We can go ahead and turn this off now. And then we'll get back on the road, and like I said, we'll end off the video showing you guys our first stop for fuel economy. Would you look at that? Another active regeneration. I wish I could explain to you why this is happening. Now, this ain't my van, and I know that whenever people rent out their rigs, sometimes people don't really go on long trips. And if they let them idle for too long, or they just don't understand how diesels work, this could potentially be an issue. So another active regen within probably about 70 miles maybe. I think that's as far as we've gone so far. I mean, since we've stopped. Let's see. And when it did complete its regen, I'll show it to you here, it was under 30%, and then it stopped at 6%. But let's see, does it show the current drive that we're on? Sorry, I'm not looking down, but here we go. I don't know if it does or not. Well, regardless of it, what I can tell you is it has not been more than 100 miles. So that's a pretty big issue in my book to have a regen within 100 miles. I mean, especially when we're just cruising on the highway at 80 miles an hour. That DPF should be hot enough to where it shouldn't have to go into your regen at all, in my opinion. I mean, we're producing enough heat. We're under load. I mean, this thing's 8,000 pounds. So, like I said, this emission stuff, they got to make changes to it to make it better, because it doesn't make sense. And just like that, we are here at Love's Station. So let's see what we got. 397 miles. What I'll do is in the future, I'll use this for the mileage, because it shows the actual mileage. This just gives you like a rounded off number basically. So we'll use 397. Basically 5 hours, 22, now 23 minutes. We've done some idling. Let's go ahead and fill up. I am on fumes, by the way, too. I ran it a little too low. So yeah, we're not gonna do that again. I just wanted to kind of get a good idea. I think it's a 24.5 gallon tank basically. So let's go ahead and top off, and let's go ahead and get back down the road so we can see our kids. Ladies and gentlemen, I was probably gonna run out of fuel if I didn't come here. Wow. So 23.961. Let's just top off one time. And 24.081. All right, so here it is. 16.5, 16.4. So we were pretty much just a tad better than what the computer said. At first, this computer was pretty optimistic at first, because when we left the house, it's like showing 24.5. Like, there's no way. But then again, we were going downhill most of the time from our house. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My wife is trying to figure out that daggone bed back there. And yeah, we got to figure that out. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Hope this was helpful. Let me know your guys' thoughts. If you own a Class B, or if you think about buying one or renting one, let us know your thoughts down below. Want to hear from you.